Posting B'Choy Sanya, I'd like to thank Gidon Nessie and family for kindly agreeing to host this. Especially to Yumi Nessie for all the wonderful catering that's gone on here. The food is absolutely incredible. And last but not least, everybody here coming here specially for this siyum to honour the memory of our dear sister and friend Malka Bas Arabianu Shmuel, whose absence is very, very keenly felt, but whose influence on both me and countless other people is still very, very much felt. So I've been learning Baba Basra for the last something like 3 years. The last bit of Baba Basra talks about the halachas of an orev. An orev is a guarantor who agrees to pay a loan in the case where the borrower defaults. So before we actually start the Gemara, I'd like to take a couple of minutes to explain a few concepts that you'll need in order to understand it. The first is of shibud nechosim, which is when I lend money to someone, before it's been paid back, I have a claim on that person's land. Now, the type of claim I have will depend on the loan. If it's an oral loan, that means that there's no document accompanying the loan, then I can, if the borrower does not pay back, I can claim from what's called nechosim b'nei chorin, which is property, land, that is still in the hands of the borrower. If there was an accompanying document with witnesses to this loan, then not only can I claim back from nechosim b'nei chorin, I can also claim back from what's called nechosim b'shu'abodim, which is land that has subsequently been sold by the borrower to a third party in between when the loan was made and when the loan is paid back. The second concept is one of a kinyan, particularly a kinyan suda. Now, a kinyan is a formal act of obligation or acquisition, and as we'll soon see, there are certain cases where in order to obligate himself, the orev needs to make a kinyan. That kinyan is a kinyan suda, which is known to people who do mechiras chometz. But basically, in this case, he would lift up a handkerchief or something belonging to the creditor, and through that will be obligated to pay the loan. So the Mishnah says as follows: Orev hayotze la'ach kesem shtoros. A guarantor who obligates himself who writes in the document after the signatures of the witnesses, meaning not in the document itself, the main body, but after the witnesses. The creditor can then collect from the B'nai Chorin property of this guarantor. Ma'aseh uba lifnei Rabbi Yishmael. There was a story, and it came in front of Rabbi Yishmael. And he said, indeed, yes, in this case, the creditor can collect from the B'nai Chorin property of the guarantor. So Omalo ben Nanas said to him, Eino gova lo menachosim m'shu'abodim v'lo menachosim b'nei chorin. You cannot collect neither from the B'nai Chorin property or the nechosim m'shu'abodim. In other words, in this case, it's not a good orev. He's not a good guarantor. So Omalo loma, why is this the case? You can't collect even from the nechosim b'nei chorin. So Omalo, he said to him, because it's akin to this case. Hare hachonik es echad bashuk. If you see someone strangling a borrower in the marketplace, and his friend comes along and finds him, and he says, Potter. He said, leave him alone, stop strangling him, I'll pay you back. In that case, the orev, the guarantor, is exempt from paying. Why? Because it wasn't through the original assurance of the orev that he agreed to make the loan. In other words, it came after the loan was made. So the Gemara says here, Omar Rabba Baba Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Bar Chana said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Afal Pisha Kilis Rabbi Shmolis ben Nanas. Later on in the Mishnah, Rabbi Shmuel praises Ben Nanas and says anyone who wants to learn Dina Momna should be by Ben Nanas. Even though he praised Ben Nanas, Halacha Kamoso, the Halacha is in accordance with Rabbi Shmuel that he collects from the Chosim B'nai Chayil. Iboilahu, they asked the following question. What would Rabbi Shmuel say in the case of Chonuk? Would he, in the case of where the borrower is being strangled by the creditor and someone then comes along and says, I will be an Orev, does Rabbi Shmuel agree with Ben Nanas there that it's not a good Orev? Or would he even say in that case that the Orev obligates himself? Tashma, come and listen, Dora or Yaakov Amar Rabbi Yochanan, that Rabbi Yaakov said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Cholok Chaya Rabbi Shmuel Af B'Chonuk, that indeed Rabbi Shmuel was even arguing with Ben Nanas in the case of Chonuk, that, and he would say in that case that it would be a good Orev. Halacha Kamoso, or ain't Halacha Kamoso? Is the Halacha like him as well in the case of Chonuk, or is it not? Is the law in accordance with Rabbi Shmuel even in that case? Toshma, come and listen, to he also Ravin on Rabbi Yochanan. Cholok Hoya Rabbi Shmuel Af B'Chonuk. Indeed, he did argue even in the case of Chonuk. Halacha Kamoso Af B'Chonuk. And the halacha is like him even in the case of strangulation. So on Rabbi Huda said, and he qualified Amar Shmuel, Chonuk B'Konim Yodom. He adds the qualification here that in the case of Chonuk, in the case where the borrower is being strangled by the lender, if the guarantor wants to obligate himself to repay the loan, he has to make a kinyan suda in this case, where he would lift up a handkerchief of belonging to the creditor and through that would obligate himself to pay. So Mishnah, but in that case he obligates himself. Michalal, that implies the Oriv Ba'alma Lo Boy Kinyan, that it's only in the case where the borrower is being strangled, then the Oriv would need to make a kinyan. But in general, it implies that the Oriv would not need to make a kinyan. Repligad Rav Nachman, and that argues with what Rav Nachman says. Don't Rav Nachman, because Rav Nachman said, Oriv the based in Hudalo Boy Kinyan, or Ba'alma Boy Kinyan. He says that an Oriv the based in, I'll explain what that is in a second, doesn't need a kinyan, but in general, you would need a kinyan. An Oriv the based in is a guarantor who obligates himself in front of Beis Din, or according to the Rambam, it could be a case where the Beis Din are about to go down to the borrower's property and collect it, and then he says, hang on a minute, just where I'll pay. So the halacha is Oriv b'shas matan mos lo boy kinyan, a guarantor that obligates himself at the time of the beginning of the money, in other words, at the time of the loan, he does not need a kinyan. Achamatan mos, but if it was only an afterthought and after the loan, then he would need a kinyan. And Oriv the Beis Din, and Oriv the Beis Din, lo boy kinyan, does not need to make an act of acquisition, or because the Oriv derives benefit from the fact that Beis Din are believing in him to become this Oriv, and through that he obligates himself without the kinyan. In this statement, not Mesachas Parabasra, the assistant statement, no. Lo ba'amod hodein v'lo ba'amod osei. Yivot sema v'necha Adonai l'bahini v'lehe v'senu. Shetahei saroscha u'monoseinu v'lamazeh. Shetahei monu l'mabah. Chanina bar papa, Romi bar papa, Nachman bar papa, Achoy bar papa, Abu Mori bar papa, Rafin bar papa, Rokish bar papa, Sukkot bar papa, Ada bar papa, Dori bar papa. Harev no Adonai l'bahini v'sevos v'finu v'fef years am chol beis Yisrael. V'nei kulonu Nachman v'set seinu v'set say am chol beis Yisrael. Kuloni yedei shmecha l'remdeis v'secha may oivai tzachakmeni mitzv'secha ki l'olom hili hili b'somim b'chukecha l'man l'revosh l'olom l'reshkach b'kudecha ki vom ki yisoni Ruchata Adonai l'amdei l'chukecha amen 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 tzelo v'ed Moed amachnu l'fanecha Adonai l'hinu v'lehe v'senu shesam tzachakenu miyoshvei beis hamidrash v'esam tzachakenu miyoshvei korones she'olim mashkimin v'heim mashkimin olim mashkimin l'divrei Torah v'heim mashkimin l'dvarim b'teilim olim amelim v'heim amelim All Amelim Makabim Sochor, Bahim Amanim Bain Makabim Sochor. Only Roxim Bahim Roxim. אנו רוצים לחול למבוא והם רוצים לבאר שחס. שנאמר ועשה להם תרידם לבאר שחס, אנשי דור ממנו לא יחסו ימיהם ואני אפתח בך. ירצה מפניך אדוני אלוהי כשם שזרתני לסיים מסכת בבשר, כן תעזרני להסביר מסכת ספרים אחרים ולסיימם, ללמוד וללמד לשמוע ולעשות, ולקיים את כל תלמוד תורתך בראבו. וזכוס התנאים והמרואים ושמתי חרומים, יאמר לי לזרי שלא ימש התור מפי זרי וזרע זרי יד עולם. תזכאים בי בסלחך תנחה וסוך, ושוך בך תשמע עליך, הכיסא סהי שכך. כי יבי יומך ויוסיף לך שני חיים, איך יום בימינו בשמאלו אש וכבוד אדוני עזרא מייתן, אדוני יברך אסונו בשלום.